everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Talking with Our Traders. This space was specifically designed to give unprecedented insights from our expert traders as they dissect the upcoming key matchups for the weekend ahead. I am the host, Cindy Edwards, and with me today is Craig Mucklow, Vice President of Trading here at Caesars Sportsbook.
Hello there.
Did you like that intro, Craig?
Thank you.
Next we have Joey Fiesel, Head of College Football here at Caesars.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Joey. And a special guest with us today, we have Rich Zanko, College Football Lead here at Caesars Sportsbook.
Yeah.
Basketball.
Yeah.
Yes, that is true.
Gentlemen, lady.
See? Told ya I was going to get tongue-tied. All right, guys. How's your week been?
Hectic.
Hectic?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good word for it.
Lots of stuff going on.
Well, we'll get to it in a minute, but poor Rich and his team had to handle 113 college basketball games on opening day.
Yeah, was it 113 or 114?
It was a lot.
A lot. All right, well, let's get into that then. College basketball is officially upon us. Rich, how was the start of the season and how has it been so far for you?
The actions have been good, predominantly from the more sharper players and sophisticated bets that have been coming in. Overall, as a team, we've done extremely well as far as managing those games in the futures, as Craig knows. As Phil Collins once says, in the air tonight, we want to actually take bets and not move on air, and that's something that me and the team have definitely pounded down as far as taking bets at the numbers that we're at, moving off, the sharper players when warranted, and having big decisions and being off market. Something I pride myself on as far as using the natural ability, taking bets, and have at it. Case in point, we opened Rutgers in the outright market. I think it was northbound of 1,000 to 1. Reason being, we thought they would be battle tested first game out of the chute against Princeton. Certainly a rivalry game.
Awesome. Well, I want to backtrack a little bit to that massive upset that happened on Monday. James Madison went on the road to East Lansing and beat number 4 Michigan State. MSU was tied for best odds to win it all, but after their loss, odds went from 12 to 1 to 20 to 1. Users are wondering why such a drop after just one game.
I don't think it's that much of a move up. We actually opened Michigan State 40 or 50 to 1 in the outright market. Garnered those wagers all the way down the ladder early in the season. I think we were first up, or one of the first up, definitely in town, if not across the board overall. Garnered those wagers at 40 and 50 to 1 all the way down. They were continuously betting them at 12 to 1 for whatever reason. Michigan State usually has a history of actually getting out of the gate pretty slowly. Gonna bump them up to 20 to 1, see if anyone wants to buy on bad news. I always respect somebody that wants to step in and have at it on bad news relative, as opposed to coming in and buying on good news.
All right, I like it. So Craig mentioned it, lots of games. How hard is it to make odds for men's college basketball?
It's pretty tedious. The outright market, for sure. I think we were probably one of the very few that actually had conference regular season odds across the board. Power 6, Mountain West, and all the way down the ladder from the Horizon League to the Ivy League to the smaller niche conferences. We got some great bets from an array of players, managed the risk as best we could, and have some pretty sizable decisions overall. So it's exciting stuff. I have a good group of guys that actually contribute to the product, crunch the numbers, read the publications, and stay on top of it, which is key.
Awesome. All right, well, thank you, Rich, for giving us that little preview. I'm sure we'll hear from you a little bit more as the season progresses, and definitely right around March. But let's get into some college football here. Joey, can you preview Penn State versus Michigan State?
Yeah, Penn State, Michigan. Second leg in this battle for the Big Ten West. Last year, Michigan was able to get it done at home. Kind of a deceiving final score, 41-17. It was close throughout, and then kind of Michigan pulled away. This year Penn State's going to host the matchup, and they're looking for some revenge in this spot. Michigan's the current favorite for the national championship, but really many are questioning, well, who have they played? How have they showed us that they are the number one team? Here at Caesars, we think they're the number one, so this is going to be their first test. Open this game, Michigan -4. We've seen most of the wagers come in on Michigan so far, now at 4.5. The results of this game is going to have a big impact, both the national championship odds, Big Ten, you name it, is going to have a big impact. So we're really excited to see what happens on Saturday.
Awesome. Joey, how much do you love making hypothetical odds?
It's my favorite thing to do.
Oh, I'd love to hear that. Going off that, if Washington and Oregon win out and meet in the Pac-12 championship, what would the spread be?
So the rematch, right now, I have it in our power rankings as Oregon -6. It's going to be on neutral site, played right here in the backyard at Allegiant Stadium. It's going to be the rematch. I mean, we saw that first game. It didn't really tell us, who is the better team when you go to the final score. I think Oregon, Dan Lanning made a couple mistakes, not taking the points in the first half. That game could have gone either way. Since then, we've seen Oregon continue to roll week after week. Washington, not so much, kind of struggling an Arizona team. They got the big win at USC last weekend, but still, I think there's some questions all around for that team. We see Oregon as a much better team. And that's why you're going to see them as the Pac-12 favorite right now. You're going to see them as higher in the national championship. Despite having that one loss to Washington, that's the reason we think that Oregon is the much better team.
So the winner of that get the Heisman?
I think so. Right now we have Bo Nix as the second, Penix as first. That could very well be where they crown the Heisman Trophy winner. Again, it's a volatile market. Anything can happen, but from the looks of it, they've made the separation into 1 and 2, and hopefully we do see a good back and forth game if they play each other in the Pac-12 title game, which is looking like it might be the case.
All right. Can you break down the Iowa game total this weekend? That has to be the lowest of all time.
I think it might be. It definitely is. We have it at 28 right now. Iowa, after last week, improves to 7-2 on the unders this year. I mean, that last game didn't even sniff close to it. I mean, they could have had, maybe gone to overtime and gone back and forth, but just not a great, Iowa's the same thing every week. Not really good at offense, really good defense. That's a great calculation for unders. So they got Rutgers this week. I think Rutgers has a little bit better of an offense than Northwestern. They had 3 red zone chances last week with Ohio State. Weren't able to punch it in. So they were in that game and through 3 quarters. So it should be a good game, but it's probably going to go under again. It's an Iowa game.
Yeah, I looked through my database. I couldn't find a number in the 20s. I did find, though, 1,500 games of the last 5 years with a higher first half pre-match total than this game, full game.
Wow. Well, I guess we'll see. Thank you, Joey. Are you guys ready to dissect some NFL now?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's get into it. After C.J. Stroud's record-breaking day on Sunday, is he a lock to win Offensive Rookie of the Year?
Bar an injury, yes. I think so. He's minus 800 right now. The Texans have been high on my rate. I keep having to check my model every so often because the Texans are up there, top 10, but the record doesn't reflect that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, look, his performance was astronomical, or was it the defense was bad? But great finish.
Yeah. Again, barring any disaster, maybe for a second place, Puka Nacua, obviously great receiver this year. On my radar, I think Jordan Addison. I think he hasn't put up the numbers, but if I look at someone who's going to make a big impact later, in a couple of years, it's going to be him. But yeah, it's C.J. Stroud's trophy right now. The Texans obviously made the right decision. Taking C.J. Stroud, there's a lot of questions going into that. Should they draft a quarterback? Should they pass in this class? But they clearly made the right decision here.
Rich, any thoughts?
Pretty much in agreement with what Craig and Joey said. Nacua, I think the Rams are very underrated, even though the results don't really show that. The quarterback actually got hurt, and they had used the backup last week, of course. Nacua is definitely there. Levitz from Tennessee, obviously, continues to outperform. Looked good in the game against the Falcons at home. Went into a tough environment on Thursday night. The team had a chance, that's for sure. So outside of those 2 guys, it's definitely Stroud's to lose. But, like I said, the Rams are certainly a little bit under the radar. It depends on whether the quarterback can come back. And the Titans with the quarterback, Levitz, has certainly looked capable, but it's Stroud's to lose at this point.
Got it. Moving on to another QB. Kyler Murray is going to get his first start of the season. How did he impact Arizona's spread this week?
went the opposite way, didn't it? It went from 4
Yeah,
to 4.5.
No way.
I think the initial rumors it went a little bit towards Arizona, but then it bounced
Yeah,
right
the money
back.
came
Then,
straight the
they
opposite
came right
way.
back.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's been off a while now. I think the biggest question is when's Call of Duty out?
Friday.
Joey knows.
Friday. It's out Friday.
Okay.
Oh no.
Was this the coach's revenge towards Kyler because he knows Call of Duty's coming? Who knows? No, but Kyler had a great 2021. Disappointing year last year. He obviously has the talent.
Yeah.
It's just whether he can shake that rust off and just perform out day one. I think this Cardinal team has been, they're the best 1-8 team I've seen. They're kind of in games for most games, and then they kind of let it go. So we'll just see how he performs and how he shakes that rust off.
I think there's a lot of ring rust. I think the leather jacket crowd. You have a nice jacket, by the way.
Thank you.
They'll be on the Cardinals probably, fading this Falcons team, which to me is completely underrated. I know the defense has not stepped up in the last 2 weeks, allowing Levis and Dodds to obviously win those games. I'm high on the Falcons as far as the talent goes. I still think that they're capable of winning that division that's so beaten up, so bad in a lot of levels. It's up for the coach, up for the players to step up here. The defense has only given up 24 points outside of the last 2 games as well. So I expect the Falcons to show up this week. I think they're clearly the better team. It's just a question of whether they've quit on this coach.
Totally. Let's talk NFL MVP race. Who's in the discussion right now, guys?
One horse race for me.
One horse race.
One horse race? Who is that?
It's not Lamar, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
It's got to be Mahomes at the moment for me.
After I just compared him to Russell Wilson, you're going to come up with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the injury market. He beat a Dolphins team that can't beat good teams, so maybe the overreaction's there. But it's a tight field. I mean, he's plus 260 Mahomes. Jalen Hurts is plus 400. He's not having a great year. Lamar Jackson, who's on the best team this year, plus 400. Tua, plus 550. I'll go speak to the head of NFL about that later. And your boy Joe Burrow, 750. It's a quarterback market, but you got to beat the man, and the man's Patrick Mahomes right now.
Yeah, it's no surprise seeing these top playoff contending quarterbacks on the list. But Mahomes is beginning to separate himself, but I think it's anybody's trophy at this point. I mean, if we look at Mahomes and this Chiefs team, the strength is no longer the offense. It's their defense that are keeping them in games.
True.
Steve Spagnuolo, former Rams coach, is terrible with them, has really got this unit working well. And they're keeping him in games, obviously, holding the Dolphins to what they held them to. But I think what kind of adds this mix of uncertainty for this MVP, no really clear favorite, is it's unders are coming in. There's not a lot of offenses.
Nobody's lighting up the statistical board, are they?
No. So I think it's wide open. I think whoever comes through in this November, December, whether it be Jalen Hurts, could be Joe Burrow, give him a little stop and then start. So we'll see how it goes, but I think it's there's no clear offensive powerhouse besides the Dolphins, and even then they've lost their big games, so it's open.
I would say it's pretty open. I think Burrow's coming along, actually, despite the injury earlier in the year. I actually backed Buffalo last week. I thought they were the right side of that game. Everyone in the world was on the Bengals. Bengals continue to win. They went into a tough environment in San Francisco, won that game, continue to do what they have to do, got out of the gate slow as they always do. But Burrow's a winner, proven winner at LSU. Some guys have it. He has the it factor as far as I'm concerned. Whether they can get through Baltimore, which if it comes down to them in Baltimore, I would be on Cincinnati for sure. To me, Kansas City is still the class of the AFC. A team like the Dolphins, with all the talent they do have, I do expect them eventually to get it right. They went into Philadelphia. They were competitive. I feel like the officials kind of stepped in there in that spot. And the Eagles have been, on borrowed time. I mean, just barely skating by some of their opponents, especially last week against Dallas.
Well, that's a good segue into your latest NFL power rankings. Who wants to start?
I'll go. I got Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, 49ers, Lions / Jags. That's
Okay. Ignore that. Just stick to college football.
Okay.
Ravens 1.
Okay.
4th the 49ers. Browns, Jags, Chiefs. The Ravens for me are just so far clear of the field that there is no number 2 and number 3 for me.
Okay.
The one thing is interesting, Rich is definitely going to agree with this one. We're both higher on the Cowboys than we are the Eagles, that's for sure.
I would agree. I got the red and the yellow, the Chiefs, obviously number 1. Been there, done that, former champion. The defense is solid, as Joey just said. Very underrated, by the way. Them 1. I would have actually Cincinnati 2, just the way they're coming on lately. Baltimore 3. The Niners, even though 3 straight losses, I would have them at 4 based on pedigree, some of the acquisitions they made. And I had Dallas 5. I think they were inside the red zone 10 times last week, probably 20 times. I was on the game watching it. What a disaster. I mean, they had every opportunity to cover that game, if not win that game, couldn't get it done. To me, the Eagles have been, they were life and death with the Rams a couple weeks back, barely got by the Patriots, got help against the Dolphins on that Monday or Sunday night game, I should say. Cowboys, you're dealing with the Cowboys, obviously, with Prescott and McCarthy, but I think they're clearly the best team out there in the NFC East.
All right, well, our designated Eagles fan isn't here to rebut, so I will take it.
Yeah, he's celebrating his birthday. So happy birthday, Adam.
Hi, Adam. Let's get into some game previews. We will start with Jags versus 49ers. Both teams are coming off a bye. 49ers are coming off of a much-needed one. Let's preview it. Craig, do you want to start?
49ers -3, totals 45. This is the game of the week, isn't it? Has to be. Yeah. Big win situation for the Niners. They've lost 3 straight, is it? They've got to get out. They've got to right the ship. And now the questions are coming with Brock Purdy, but I'm high on the Jags. I really do like the Jags.
Yeah, you've been high on the Jags, I feel.
Lawrence and Burrow got that moxie that they ooze confidence, like no matter what they're doing. So, I'd probably be on the side of
I'm
the
not a
Jags.
Lawrence guy. The hair's flowing and everything.
I'm
but
jealous
I'm
of
not,
the hair.
I'm not enamored with what he represents, but I can see your point.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 probably should be playoff teams. 2 top 10 defenses on paper. One thing that the Niners like to do is they like to run the ball. One thing the Jags are really good at is stopping the run. So I see the Niners probably going to need to try to establish that run with CMC, kind of get that play action going. But this could go either way. The Niners really need this win though, coming out those 3 losses.
I barely made it just higher than a pick, the 49ers. I've got -1 the 49ers where the market's 3, so it'll be interesting to see.
All right, so do we have some picks on this game, or do we think it's a toss-up?
I like the line where it's at right now. You want to take the Jags in this spot?
Yeah, I have to take the points.
All right. Moving on, we have Chargers versus Lions. Lions are coming off a bye. Chargers looked good last week, even though it was against the
It was
Jets.
against the Jets. It just didn't
Okay,
seem fresh.
guys, I know. You're talking to the biggest Jet hater of all.
Sure.
Are you sure about that? The only one defending them.
Well, I'm just so used to the Chargers being in close games that I just assumed.
They just let teams hang around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
We were definitely not cheering the field goal at the end of the half.
No.
So it was a result for the betting public, that's for sure. Tough game. Yeah.
Tough game?
Yeah. The Lions just... I like the Lions. I like the coach. He has the locker room. I think their schedule's pretty easy, so I think they're shooing for the division, that's for sure. But yeah, like the Chargers, it's Jekyll and Hyde every week, isn't it?
Yeah, line opened up Chargers 1. Now it's Lions -3. They're coming off the bye. Chargers coming off a shortened week. Lions have had that extra week to plan for this. Chargers don't have a good pass defense. This looks like the Lions game to lose.
Yeah, I agree. Rich?
I like the Lions a little bit. Chargers don't really have much of a home field advantage, as everybody knows.
Absolutely not.
Half the stadium, if not more, will probably be with Lions fans. Maybe not to that degree, but when they played the Bears and destroyed them on Sunday or Monday night a couple weeks back, that was the case.
Well, the Chargers might plant some more fans. So
They could do that.
Don't forget
but, the Chargers are more relaxed on the road when they're underdogs, especially. They're at home. They do have a chance. I would lean the Lions if I had to. I'm not in the business of usually laying numbers though on the road.
So we all like the Lions.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Sunday night football. We have the Raiders versus the Jets. The
Again.
two teams who seem to be the only teams on primetime every week. Guys, who wants to start?
I'll start. Line opened up, Jets 2.5. It's currently Jets 1. Raiders had a great, well-needed win against the Giants, but it was against the Giants. Obviously, coach getting fired, that added some motivation for this Raiders team. They put up 30 points, so good for them. Step in the right direction. This is the classic game of two mid teams fighting tooth and nail, and they both need a win in this situation. So, be interesting to see which way it goes.
I can't believe you just correctly used
mid
in a sentence.
Not as old as I look.
They are two mid teams, Craig.
The Jets, 6 times on primetime this year?
It's insane.
I think it's the curse of whoever. The Broncos were on primetime the most last year.
Yeah.
They were not a good team. The scheduling gods, obviously, whoever's got the primetime games next year, you just got to lay them for everything, because it seems to be a curse. Yeah, start flexing some of these games. Look, the Raiders got a good win, but they beat the Giants. The last team one team's already played the Jets and Giants back-to-back weeks, and the Cowboys combined 70 points, didn't they? So the Raiders are 34 off that total. So yeah, it's Raiders for me, but
I agree.
I won't be watching this game.
Rich, who do you got, Raiders or Jets?
Tough game overall. I was fading the Raiders early in the year. Had New England against them, and had some cash on the Patriots, and had to witness that. A nice safety at the end of the game, so business as usual with the NFL this year. I like the fact what Pierce is bringing to this team. Former Super Bowl winner, has control of the locker room, reminds me of Jeff Saturday, good or bad, last year with the Colts. I think the team is bought in, so I'm not looking to go to the window and bet the Jets. I like what Pierce is doing, bringing the intangibles, former Super Bowl winner, which is always a great thing. If the players are willing to play for the coach and has command of that, it's always a dangerous situation to go against that situation. So probably small lean to the Raiders if I had to.
Did you see the celebration in the locker room last week?
I saw the cloud of smoke.
Yeah, they're having fun.
Yeah, but you got to look at the scoreboard and then look at the standings as well. So you can't just. It's actually the third lowest total of the year.
Really?
Yeah, so the Jets and Giants, no surprise, 34.5, that went under.
Mm-hmm.
The Falcons and the Titans, that went over. And the other one was the Patriots and the Jets, 35.5. That went under.
All right, well, we'll see. Let's move on to Monday Night Football, Bills versus Broncos. Is this the matchup the Bills need to get back to themselves?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the Bills are desperate to keep their Super Bowl hopes alive. I think it might already be done. Out of their 9 games, 6 have been one-possession games. They've only come out with victories in 2 of them. The Bills might be proven to be a mediocre team after having many years of success. The defenses might have caught on to their game. Broncos are coming off a bye, but have probably one of the worst defenses in the league. So, maybe they've had an extra week to prepare, but it's going to be hard having a bad defense to go against this Bills team. Line opened up, Bills 9, it's now 7.5.
Yeah, this is absolute must-win for the Bills.
I feel like we keep saying that.
We do, but
and they keep losing.
and when you look at Miami's schedule, Miami's hardest game is Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
So they've got 5 or 6 games between then. That division could be over. So the Bills have to start winning. But hey, as a Dolphins fan, it'd be nice to see the Bills not make the playoffs for once.
As a Patriots fan, I agree.
Somebody who was a huge buyer of the Broncos last year is some of the probably guys on the podcast are tuning in right now. I'm not a Bills guy. Josh Allen's certainly a company man. The Bills are this is probably the get right spot for them here at home. They, were barely lucky to get through the Giants. No-showed pretty much last week. Their season's on the line here. The Broncos, I just don't see much in what they did. They had a big win against Kansas City, obviously, at home, and they're looking to next year.
All right, I like it. Who's ready to play overreaction or not?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, we've got a couple questions today. So, overreaction or not, the Raiders fixed the problem.
You ready for your quote of the week?
Go
So,
for it.
first of all, it's an overreaction. If you aren't fired up with enthusiasm, you will be fired with enthusiasm, which kind of speaks to the last 2 weeks of the Raider Nation. No, it's an overreaction. They'll get back to normal. It's great that they get a win and they're motivated, but obviously the head coach didn't play for the Giants.
Right.
The Raiders, so there's loads of motivation. You've got the locker room back, great, but let's just see how they start reacting when they face adversity again. That's always the challenge.
Yeah, big overreaction here. They still have plenty of problems to be fixed. They gave Jimmy G $45 million guaranteed, now sitting on the bench. They're paying a rookie quarterback less than $1 million a year. For the coach and GM situation, they need to look towards the future. Apparently Tom Brady is involved, and we saw how good a former Patriots staff went for that. So, yeah, by far this Raiders team is not fixed. They have a long road to go. But I'm interested to see how O'Connell plays against the Jets.
Under or over cigars smoked when they go at Miami versus Kansas City versus Minnesota versus the Chargers at Kansas City.
I'm taking Raiders over Kansas City all day.
Really?
Yeah, we'll talk about that when it comes. Only
The
because
Chiefs have never lost in the Legion.
well, that's why I'm taking them. They're
There you
they're ready for one.
That's my type of play. The contrary play.
Yeah, that is
The
the-
do theory, right?
Right, Rich. What do you think? Overreaction or not?
I don't think so. Like I said, I was fading the Raiders early in the year. I like the fact that McDaniels is out of there. I'm not in the business of laying bad quarterbacks, which I think White is overall for the Jets. Robert Saleh, great story and whatnot. He's probably on borrowed time unless Rodgers comes back and they're in that position to maybe make that playoff run, not to the Super Bowl, but that run. But
Right.
buyer beware. Like I said, I'm not looking to bet either side of the game. The Raiders are definitely. They showed a lot last week, even though it was against the Giants team, for whatever that's worth.
You can only beat what's in front of you.
That's true. And what's in front of them this week is the Jets. Okay, next question. Overreaction or not, the Bills will miss the playoffs.
Not an overreaction. The Bills have a very tough road ahead of them. Playing the toughest competition from here on out, I would not be surprised if they missed the playoffs.
I think it's an overreaction. I think they make the playoffs. 5 of their last 8 games are against teams they can beat. They've got the Broncos, the Jets, the Chargers, the Patriots. I mean, that's 4 wins, isn't it? Because they've got the Patriots twice. So that gets them within 1 win of theoretically 9 or 10 wins to get you in a wild card.
Yeah.
And then you've got to get 1 win out of at Philadelphia, at Kansas City, home versus Dallas, and at Miami at the end of the season. So they should win one of those games. Like, you think Miami's probably the one they win. But no,
Just for
I
you.
think they make the playoffs.
On the fence on this one.
Okay.
I think the Dolphins are the clear, much to his dismay. The Dolphinos are much to his dismay. As far as the class of the AFC East, by far. Chargers are coming along now a little bit, winning some games. The Chiefs, AFC West. You got a couple teams besides the Ravens in the Central. Even the Browns, big game there with the Ravens. Browns-Ravens, big divisional rivalry there. So that's going to say a lot there. I think the Bills are probably going to take care of business this week, but I don't think it's a certainty that they'll make the playoffs, actually.
All right. Overreaction or not, whether or not Rodgers is involved, the Jets season is over.
I had overreaction. They're not going to win the AFC East. But they're not out of the playoff picture either. So, they're 1 game out of the wild card right now. Their schedule's relatively easy. You have to win this weekend, obviously. It's a winnable game.
Right.
But then you've got 4 games versus winning teams. You've got Miami twice and Buffalo. The other 5 are all winnable. 9 wins gets you knocking on the door of the playoffs. So I'd say it's not over yet. It could be soon. If you lose this week, it's over.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. They're going to be fighting for the wild card spot, But I don't even think that the return of Rodgers would even get them to the promised land. I don't think that's, they got, a quarter of play, not even. A couple
Right.
plays. There's still a big road to go and kind of fix that offense entirely. So, yeah, they could go, they could not go. There's an answer.
Yeah, they could possibly tease the situation as far as being an outright Super Bowl winner. I just don't see it. Possibly, could get in the playoffs and make some noise as far as winning a game, maybe. But that's their ceiling as far as I'm concerned. Not something I'm interested in as far as backing the storyline with Salah and Rodgers coming back. But big game this week, obviously. They got to take care of business against the Las Vegas Raiders here on the road.
So we all agree this week is a must-win for them.
Yeah, if you like them, plus 240 to make the playoffs right now.
All right.
A bit too short for me though.
Overreaction or not, the Chiefs will repeat.
Overreaction. Based on their odds, they've got an 18% chance of winning. So give me the field at 82%, I'll take that. But, as I said earlier, the Chiefs have not lost at the allegiance of the games here. So Joey said it best earlier. Their defense is the skill of the team now. We'll see. Mahomes is a great quarterback. He's favourite for MVP. It's too short a price for me to take a plus 450 for a Super Bowl.
I got not an overreaction. Tied for first in AFC. Their schedule is pretty straightforward from here on out. If there's one thing Mahomes and crew have shown to be good at, is they're great in elimination games. So if they get to the dance, I could absolutely see them taking them to the Super Bowl once again. So not an overreaction for me.
I think the Chiefs are going to make the Super Bowl. I only see probably one, maybe two teams that could actually knock them out. That being the Dolphins, much to his dismay once again, because he's a huge Dolphin fan. But as far as either them, maybe if the Chargers do get in, and they do have the goods as far as the talent pool to actually go blow to blow. I mean, they were in that game in Kansas City for a little bit,
Yeah.
faded away. But I think the Chiefs definitely have the odds on as far as the red and yellow making the Super Bowl here in Vegas.
If they get home field advantage,
Yeah.
I might be a buyer.
Okay, so here's my question. If they don't repeat, then they're not a dynasty, correct?
Okay.
Is that correct? I need understanding of what a dynasty is. You have to go back to back at some point to be a dynasty,
It's
right?
tough to go back to back in any professional sport.
Yeah,
If they go back to back, it's a dynasty because Andy Reid's proved it because they lost their offensive coordinator, didn't they, to Washington.
right.
Then you've proved it without the skill of the offense. So, if they win, I'm happy to call them a dynasty.
Okay, but if they lose, they're not.
No.
Okay, I like it. Just had to make sure we're on the same page. This is a fun one. Overreaction or not, the colors of the Super Bowl logo predict the Super Bowl matchup.
It's not an overreaction, it's bonkers. I like a conspiracy theory as much as
I do
anybody
too.
else. Yeah, it's fun. But yeah, this really has no weight to it at all. Looking at the past couple of years, there was red, orange in there. 34% of the teams are red. So
Yeah.
I just find it interesting that she didn't bring it up until the Ravens were number one in the AFC. Then it happens to be a conspiracy. That's the interesting part for me.
Do you bet the grey horses in horse races? And do you
No.
bet number 7 on the roulette table?
Sometimes.
Oh, okay. Then they might have some evidence to it.
That's a merit.
Well, the past 3 Super Bowls, like you gotta agree, that's kind of crazy.
They used to, going back, I think it was like the 86 Soccer World Cup, there was a palindrome where it was like Argentina, Brazil, Germany, England, and then they reverse. So all the English fans were like, England going to win the World Cup because it's telling us it's this. And of course they failed. But those things are for romanticists.
Okay.
Is that the word?
Conspiracists?
I'm a huge conspiracist.
Yeah?
Yeah,
All right,
absolutely.
so do you think she's onto something?
As far as what, the Super Bowl prediction or?
Yeah, so for those who don't know, there was
What are the colours?
a lady on TikTok
Okay.
who had noticed that for the past 3 Super Bowl logos, the colors within the logo were also the colors of the 2 teams that played. So this year's the color is
Red and purple.
red and purple, so they're saying Ravens 49ers will
Okay.
be the Super Bowl matchup. matchup.
Or Texans Vikings. We
Or,
rolled that one out.
or what about the Ravens
The script
Cardinals?
came out before the year started. It was supposed to be Bengals Cowboys.
Yeah.
But my prediction would be the red and the yellow, Kansas City Chiefs, and probably America's team, real American Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, there you
Cowboys
go.
Chiefs.
All right. Okay. So we're not buying.
No.
Next up, we have overreaction or not. Josh Dobbs will take the Vikings to the playoffs.
I think I said the Vikings would make the playoffs last week before
Pat
Josh
yourself
Dobbs.
on the back.
Oh no, there's a better one coming. Like they were plus 170 last week to make the playoffs. They're plus 120 now. Can they win the division? I don't think so. But their schedule's soft enough that they can. They should make the playoffs, and a hell of a story. I mean,
Right.
The team has rallied around
Yeah,
this whole Kirk
exactly.
Cousins thing.
Yeah,
And that's
they
what
love
you'd love to
Cousins.
see.
Yeah.
I mean, you love the passion. The team is, Cousins was, emotional in the locker room, and the team's bought in. So, I mean, they got some good skill set players. Jefferson may be coming back. And the fact that that coach was
Yeah, that's
able to
big.
do that with 2 minutes to go in that game, much to my dismay, because I had the Falcons. But I mean, to manage that game with 2 minutes to go, all the way down the field and convert and call the plays simultaneously, incredible stuff. I mean, the Vikings, dangerous team if they were able to just punch their ticket into the playoffs, probably.
Yeah, Josh Dobbs didn't even know half the players' names that he was throwing to, or his teammates. And to use that 2-minute drill, get down the field, win the game, that just shows, like Rich said, a lot of heart, a lot of skill set players on offense. I would not be surprised if they get in the playoffs.
All right, and they're purple, so
Well, that's
Purple.
my
they'll make the
conspiracy.
Super Bowl.
That's my conspiracy theory. I think the Vikings coach is the Charger coach. It's the same guy. Same guy.
All right, okay. That is all I have for overreaction or not. Thank you all for playing. Let's do our weekly game predictions. Joey, let's start with you.
I'm going with the ugly game of the week. I'm going tomorrow night. Two bad teams, Panthers and Bears. Give me the ones getting points. I'll take the Panthers plus 3.5.
Panthers plus 3.5. Okay. You guys think that's a good call?
I'll listen to
I
it.
Are we allowed to rate each other's
Yeah, we can
game
rate 'em.
predictions?
Okay. It was mid.
Oh, perfect. Okay, Greg.
After last week's horse winner at 4-1, got up right on the
You
line.
did call that.
We're going to go back to normality, so another loser coming. Titans Bucks first half over 19.5.
And it's an over.
Yeah.
Feeling crazy today, huh?
Yeah, it's one of those days.
Rich, do you have a game prediction?
Gonna come back on the Falcons, lay the 1 or 1.5
not learning
in the
lesson last
desert. Yeah, it's now or never. I think the division is still somewhat open. No one's really world beater there. It's now or never for them. I think they have the skill set players to do it. Heineke now has another week under his belt, and I'm just not a believer in this whole situation with Murray coming back. And Arizona really doesn't have much to play for, so let's see what this Falcons coach, the kicker, and the team, what they can bring to the table here. They actually have held most of their opponents to under 24 points, except the last 2 weeks.
Well, that pick.
I like it too.
like it.
Well, I have Raiders over Jets.
Oh.
Yeah.
That must have
I'm
took all
really-
about 10 minutes of research.
It was that video in the locker room. They've really got me believing that something's to come. But okay, we are just about out of time. Thank you all for joining our Talk with the Traders. Thank you, Craig,
You're welcome.
Joey, and Rich for all of your incredible insights. This conversation will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. If you don't already follow us, at Caesar Sports on YouTube, X, Facebook, and Instagram, please toss us a follow. Guys, anything to say before the bettors head into the weekend?
Good luck.
Yeah.
All right.
Looking forward to this Iowa shootout again.
Yeah.
All right. Goodbye.